What up? This is Rama Screen, and in the anticipation of American Fighter, which arrives in select theaters and everywhere movies can be rented May 21 and Blu-ray DVD May 25, I'm here talking with the star of this new film, George Kosturos. How are you, George?
Doing well. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for taking the time. Let me start by asking you, was it always part of the plan from the beginning since 2016 to someday potentially make this follow-up to American Wrestler?
No, not at all. The first one was just a standalone. It was based on a true story of Ali Afshar's life, and it was just so well received by audiences, and people seemed so connected with the story, and they really loved it that Ali and I would started joking around like, "Hey, let's do another one." And at first, it was a joke. We were joking, and eventually, a script kind of came out of it, and this MMA theme sort of came out of it, and then next thing you know, we were on set shooting the sequel.
And what was it like to step into Ali Jahani's shoes again after all those years? Did it feel like you never left that role at all?
At first, it felt like a little like I was like, man, how do I get back into that? And it felt a little like not awkward, but it took a little bit of getting used to. But then after once we were on set and once we were with the same team, we had a different direction, but most of the other people were the same team. It felt like just so natural, and it was a lot of fun. I
Yeah,
was so happy to bring him back to life.
yeah, and the years of the story between one and the other didn't span quite too much. You know what I'm saying? It's really
Yeah,
close to each
totally.
other.
Yeah, it just picks right back up. Then the next story picks up right when he goes to college. So it was pretty seamless. And this one took a darker sort of path than the first one, which kind of fit. And this one goes into more of a mature audience's sort of movie, and it kind of worked, because I was growing up at the time, and I was a little older when we were filming, so it fit well.
I've actually previously already interviewed both Tommy and Sean on separate occasions in the past. Both of them are the loveliest gentlemen in the business. You also co-produce Sean's movie Born a Champion. Tell me, what's it like collaborating with Tommy and Sean on American Fighter? As far as on-screen acting goes, what did you take away from them?
Um, Tommy was a pleasure to work with. He's very spontaneous, very creative on set. He often plays like scary guy, scary character, but he's really cool and kind and really fun guy. But I took away he would always do something different. Every take, you kind of never knew what he was going to do. Kind of left me on edge as his scene partner. Kind of left the crew on edge, the director on edge. And I think there's a balance with that. You don't want to leave everyone too on edge, but he was great at balancing that, and always did something that surprised me and the other cast, and always made the scenes better. So I think kind of took away from him was just being willing to go there and be spontaneous, even though the scene's giving you that box. It's okay, and it's fun to go outside of it. Sometimes it makes the scene better. And John was just he was prolific at ad-libbing, and we would be looking at lines just before the scene, and he would be like, okay, I got it, and we would go in, and he would just change the lines but make them so much better on the spot. And
Hmm.
I'm still working out how he did that, but it was definitely a talent, and I'm sure anyone who's ever worked with him would know. He just comes up with what he should say while he's saying it, and it's just fits. So that was always a fun to see. I never knew what he was gonna say, and then I would say my line, and then he would just say something back, and I just was listening. It was like I was really in a conversation with him because he was making it up as we go.
That's awesome. They are really both pros. And
Yeah, you can
let,
feel it.
let's talk about the fights. My favorite parts about this film, of course.
Yeah.
I understand that your character comes from wrestling background, but it seems that it's like taking it up a notch in this one with underground fight scenes, mostly MMA style, and I think you also applied some of Sean's Brazilian jiu-jitsu in there as well.
Yes.
Talk to me about choreographing those fights and what were the fighting styles that you incorporated.
The fights were very complicated, and to be honest, took a lot of time to learn. They originally hired a stunt double for me because
Hmm.
they weren't sure as an actor if I could learn it all. But my stunt double Cheyenne and I worked tirelessly every day before we started shooting, while we were shooting, so that because I really wanted to try to be able to do all the fight scenes myself, and I ended up doing every stunt myself, which was a lot of fun, but it took a lot of work. And so the choreo, Cheyenne taught me all of it, and I would literally be in the scene sometimes, and turn back, and he would be like mimicking it for me just to help me out. And he was a bud on the whole time, and that was a lot of fun. And the different styles we did Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I learned a little bit of karate and kickboxing, and just kind of and we did a lot of boxing training before as well. It was just sort of like an overall crash course of MMA for me, and I trained for 2 months nonstop. I gained about 20 pounds, and yeah, so I was able to do all my own stunts, and that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it shows well on the screen. So, uh, talk to me about the evolution or the personal growth of Ali Jahani from American wrestler to American fighter. I understand that Ali feels that he has to work twice as hard as the next guy,
Yeah.
especially with the 1981 political climate. How do all of those impact Ali's journey so far? And do you think he's mostly driven by frustration and anger?
I don't know if he's driven by frustration and anger, but I think he's driven by just wanting to be seen. I think in the first film he's totally discriminated on for no reason, and his way of breaking through that discrimination was working hard and becoming the best wrestler he could be. And in the first film, he's really fighting for himself, and he's fighting for himself to be heard and known and seen as just like everybody else. And in the second film, American Fighter, he's really fighting for someone else for the first time. He's proven himself. He's been accepted by the community. He's got his college scholarship, but now that's still not enough, and he's got to fight for his mom and try to keep her alive and get her to America. And so in the second one, his journey sort of shifts from fighting for himself to fighting for someone else, and the most important person you could fight for, which would be your mother. So uh, I think it's a great shift for him as a character, and seeing him grow, seeing him sort of take on that new sort of responsibility was inspiring, and I enjoyed doing it.
Final question. So, are we gonna see Ali again in the near future? Are you guys planning a third installment?
Everybody's asking this. That's hilarious. The joke now is, in real life, Ali Afshar, who the movies are based on, becomes a race car driver. So the third installment, to be determined, is jokingly titled American Racer. So
Yeah.
that could be something down the line. This American Fighter started out as a joke, so you never know.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it. So, for my fans at home, everybody go check out American Fighter, arriving in select theaters and everywhere. Movies can be rented May 21 and on Blu-ray DVD May 25. George, thank you for talking to me and congratulations.
I appreciate it, Rama. Thank you.